I'm the Kaiju no Kami, and tonight's review is GMK. During the 90s, Dai had a successful trilogy on their hands in the form of Gamera. These movies were praised for their technical achievements just as much as their story elements. As such, it was only a matter of time before Toho would approach the trilogy's director Shusuke Kaneko, and in 2001, that is exactly what they did. Kaneko was brought on to create a new movie that was to reinvent Godzilla once again, and he planned to do so bringing back some kaiju that hadn't been seen since the Showa era. They were Baragon, Anguirus, and Varan. Unfortunately, Godzilla vs. Megaguirus was a box office dud, and Toho wanted to play their next movie safe. They had Kaneko remove Varan and Anguirus and replace them with Mothra and King Ghidorah. Baragon was widely popular among Japanese fans, so he was kept. This caused a stir among fans though, because these two big-name monsters were reduced to low-level kaiju that were never meant to be able to take out Godzilla, for the story itself remained the same. Kaneko also brought his crew from the Gamera trilogy with him, which included composer Ko Otani and special effects director Shinji Higuchi. And together they made the most badass Godzilla movie ever. And without further delay, here is GMK. GMK kicks off with Admiral Taizo Tachibana, played by Ryudo Izaki, telling a room full of soldiers about Godzilla's attack in 1954. He also informs them that other monsters have shown up around the world, including a similar monster that attacked America at the end of the 20th century. An American sub disappears, and the search party looking for it comes across what appears to be a giant monster. We are then taken to Mount Myoko, where Tachibana's daughter, Yuri, is filming for a low-budget monster movie studio. Sort of. They are called BS Digital Q. A tremor occurs, shaking everyone around, and Yuri notices some strange old man in the distance who disappears. That night, a bunch of bikers are causing havoc around the village.
Right into this world, all alone. God takes your soul, you're on your own. The crow flies straight, a perfect line, on the devil's bed until you die.
A tunnel collapses on them. A trucker that was behind them witnesses what happened and sees what he believes to be Godzilla. Yuri is upset that no one at work will take her seriously, and we meet her friend and science fiction author Teruaki Takeda. Takeda is played by Masahiro Kobayashi. Takeda hands Yuri a book that is about 3 guardian monsters that are said to be protecting Japan from evil.
3 little pigs were in the groove. Everything was running smooth. The pigs were due for a big surprise, for the wolf appeared with red-rimmed eyes.
Ooh, you cool.
Well, to show he was friendly, he shook their hand, announced he was joining up with a band. Instead of starting an argument, 1 and 2 and away they went. The 3 little pigs were really gassed. They'd never heard such a corny blast.
We played in the West. We've played in the East. We've heard the most, but you're the least.
In the meantime, there are a bunch of hooligans looting a convenience store, and they stuff a dog in a box to drown it when they find themselves being murdered by something in the water. Yuri Takeda, along with one of her co-workers, learns that an old man who claims to know about Godzilla is in a jail cell, and they head out to interview him. There, the old man turns out to be the same one Yuri noticed at Myoko, and he tells her to wake up Ghidorah. He also reveals that Godzilla is the embodiment of those that were killed during World War II, and it wants to make sure people never forget what happened, even though they are trying to. Afterwards, the trio go to visit the shrine Ghidorah is supposed to be at, and Yuri comes across a strange rock. Her co-worker notices that the branches he had filmed a few minutes ago are now gone. Godzilla attacks a village in the Bonin Islands, leaving only one survivor. This forces the military to reveal that Godzilla is indeed alive to the world, and a search for him begins. Yuri tells her father about the guardian beast and the old man. Tachibana reveals his experience as a boy when Godzilla first attacked Japan, and it is what drives him to ensure the beast never comes back. Baragon appears at the police station from before and frees the old man so that he may go and wake Ghidorah up. Godzilla finally surfaces from the sea, and we get to watch some hilarious reactions from people running away from him. Also, check that out in the background here. It's a picture of the lucky dragon number 5. The atomic titan rampages through the city and ends up killing the girl who survived his attack on the Bonin Islands. Godzilla then charges up his atomic breath, and it leaves a mushroom cloud of terror for all to see. Baragon reaches Godzilla's location and the two monsters brawl. Sadly, it is a one-sided fight as Baragon is no match for Godzilla's might. A news helicopter is caught in the fight, Yuri is injured, and Baragon meets an explosive demise. Yuri is bandaged up and then heads out to follow Godzilla in order to report all that is going on live. Maguno is put in charge of the operation to eradicate Godzilla as Tokyo is evacuated. Planes attack Godzilla without success, and we get to see a nice shot of debris crashing down into a house. Mothra hatches from a cocoon that appeared in Lake Ikeda, and she flies off to confront Godzilla, who is on his way to Tokyo. She flies by two girls who look vaguely familiar. Hey, wasn't there something we were supposed to do right now? The flying moth intercepts Godzilla in Yokohama, and they face off with each other. Many soldiers die in the crossfire, and Mothra uses her stinger to try to bring Godzilla down. Yuri also gets caught in battle as Godzilla's blast hits the building 5 feet away from her, incinerating her. Ghidorah finally arrives in Yokohama, and his battle against Godzilla bites. He's just way too weak and small, and is knocked out way too quickly.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Mothra is injured as she tries to rescue Ghidorah. The military proceeds to attack the reptilian overlord with their drill-like missiles, and one of them manages to get him right in the shoulder. Godzilla once again charges his atomic breath, and the military receives free flying lessons. All looks grim for Tachibana and his men until Godzilla spins around and destroys Mothra with his blast attack. Her energy flows into Ghidorah, who is powered up from it and flies into the air to blow Godzilla into the sea. Godzilla swims out a little bit and their battle continues. Tachibana takes a mini-sub out to try and kill Godzilla from beneath the sea. Yuri broadcasts a message to those watching about the bravery of the military when the bridge she and Takeda are on is hit by Godzilla's ray.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
Luckily for them, the rock Yuri picked up at the shrine hits Ghidorah's head and it boosts his strength once more. He is able to use his breath to soften their fall into the water. Ghidorah flies out of the water into the sky and electrifies Godzilla. Despite the constant power-ups, he is still no match for Godzilla's might, and he is blown into a million chunky pieces that rain down from the sky. Ew. However, this just transpires to be exactly what was supposed to happen. The spirits of the three beasts pull Godzilla down into the water just long enough for Tachibana to pilot the sub into his belly. Plot convenience.
2つ魂のままあなたのいなくなった世界をさまよう。それも嫌。諦めないで。
Godzilla rises from the sea and is going to fire at the couple when Tachibana unicrons him.
You cannot destroy my destiny.
Tachibana's sub emerges from the bloody water and everyone celebrates the creature's destruction. It is also revealed that the old man Yuri talked to has been dead for years and he is no longer on the tape they had recorded at the police station. Tachibana and Yuri salute the guardian beast and the movie ends.
But I'm not done yet.
That was GMK, the best Godzilla movie ever? Was it the best? Sadly, this movie just isn't the masterpiece it was once thought to be. The story itself is still really good as Kaneko put a new twist on it with its use of mythology, but at the same time, it just doesn't fit with Honda's original vision. Godzilla is meant to be a representation of the atomic bomb and nature, but he was never outright evil. He is supposed to be more of a sympathetic creature rather than killing just for the sake of killing. It also does not help that Mothra and Ghidorah are seriously underpowered. I like that Kaneko tried to do something new with them, but this would have worked better had it been a Gamera movie rather than a Godzilla movie. Thankfully, GMK benefits from a strong cast of characters. They are all likable ones, with Tachibana being the standout among the cast. Learning that he was around when Godzilla attacked Japan the first time really helps define who he is and what his motivations are. His relationship with Yuri is great too. It is opposite to Io and Shinoda from 2000, as these two both work independently from one another and do not need the other to survive, but they truly love each other. Takeda is the weakest link of the main three. So much so that I cannot help but call him the Jeff Goldblum of Japan, because he seems to have the same mannerism. The old man, or rather Professor Isayama, who was played by King Kong Escape's Hideo Amamoto, is a much more interesting character than Takeda. I'd also like to point out that the man who is trying to hang himself is played by Yukijiro Hotaru, whom you may recognize from the Gamera trilogy as Inspector Osaka and Garo as Koga's butler Gonza. Unfortunately, the characters are a lot stronger in the first half of the movie than they are in the second half. It just seems like the writers ran out of ideas to develop them, so they stopped trying. The special effects and miniatures are a step up from the last movie and have some of the best the series has seen in a long time, sans the CGI. The fact that there are after effects to the monsters is impressive. Godzilla's tail swiping the hospital, the plane debris raining down into the buildings, Godzilla's blast missing Mothra and blowing up everything around it, and the bit of Ghidorah's guts pouring down over Godzilla all brings a nice bit of realism not seen before in the series. However, The biggest one has to go to the mushroom cloud for Godzilla's atomic breath. That just showed the pure sense of terror that he brings. The monster designs are all a mixed bag. The Godzilla suit looks fantastic as he looks downright evil, which is what Kaneko wanted. I may not fully agree with this decision, but he managed to pull off the look perfectly. Godzilla is also big and massive and feels like a true threat to Japan. His feet look great, and while I'm not a fan of the huge thighs of the Heisei era, they are done well here. The spines were also returned to a more traditional look than those found in the previous two entries, which can either be a positive or a negative depending on how you felt about them before. Sadly, you can see the seams in the back where the spines are attached on the suit, which can be distracting at times. The eyes are truly impressive with its use of negative effect by putting white over black, and the face is able to convey a nice range of emotions. This is the first time Baragon has been seen on screen since '68, unless you count his cameo in Dragon Ball, and they did an excellent job on him. His design is very faithful to the original, with just a palette swap and some alterations done. He's small, and yet he is very aggressive against Godzilla, so even though the fight wasn't long and he didn't really have a chance, it was great to watch. The biggest letdowns come from the Mothra and Ghidorah suits though. As I previously mentioned, Kaneko intended the movie to feature smaller monsters to show just how unstoppable Godzilla was. Despite Toho's change, the monsters were kept smaller and it just doesn't work for Ghidorah. Not only that, but to some, turning Ghidorah, who has always been the evil monster, to good was not favored among the fans. For Kaneko's vision, it works, but for the monster's history, it does not. That would be like turning Joker into a hero. Thankfully, it is only this movie that does it, so there is no reason to get upset over it. The size of the monsters and their designs, on the other hand, are another story. He also has some of Varan's facial features, which just do not fit him. The wings are pretty terrible looking because of how their use is implemented. The CGI also just looks bad on him when he is powered up. Of course, it does not help that he has to be constantly powered up just to hold his own against Godzilla. It is very frustrating to Ghidorah fans. Mothra looks like she is made out of plastic. The fur just doesn't seem as detailed as it should be, and sometimes it's hard to realize that that is indeed fur over her body. The inclusion of the stinger was an interesting idea, but we lost her other attacks to gain it, so I'm not sure the sacrifice was worth it. The purple eyes look incredible though, as do the antenna, and the best feature is the flapping of her wings. They look so realistic when they are flapping. Finally, the music is done by Ko Otani, whom Gundam fans may recall from Gundam Wing. I absolutely love Otani's score, especially his Godzilla theme, but that is also because I love the music from Gundam Wing. If someone does not, they might find it hard to enjoy it as it sounds quite similar. In fact, just like with the last movie, Otani is one of my favorite Godzilla composers that isn't a Fukabe. Between Oshima and Otani though, I might have to give the edge to Oshima simply because she got to do 2 more movies after this one. Nevertheless, Otani's score is pleasing to the ears and it does a great job of showing what this version of Godzilla is like. It just sounds evil. Like Godzilla vs. Biollante, GMK is one of the best in the series, but it is a heavily flawed one. It does so much right in its first half that the second half just feels like a little bit of a letdown, especially with its characters. The changes to Godzilla himself are not favorable, but that is the beauty of an alternate universe. Nevertheless, Kaneko provides a great entertaining film that has a lot of replay value. Well, that is all the time I have for this episode. Join me next time as I return with another Mechagodzilla and Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Bye.